Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope your day is going so well so far. In today's video I'm going to be creating 3 looks with the Starlight Society palette from Cosmic. So I already have a first impression where I create a look, an eyeshadow palette bingo where I completely randomise all of the shades, and another video where I just created a look using this palette. And today I'm going to be creating 3 more looks all in this one video. So the first look I have gone very purple. We've done a little pop of something extra on the inner corner, but we've gone very purple, smoky. I've done a wing. Let me off. I'm going to try and not do a wing in every single look, but I don't know what look I'm going to do for the other looks, but this is look number 2. Whatever that may be. Obviously I haven't filmed look number 2 or look number 3 yet, so I don't know what they're going to be or how they're going to go. And then this is look number 3 with the Starlight Society palette. So let's go back in time a little bit to about an hour ago and create this look here for look number 1. Okay, so look number 1 with the Starlight Society palette, and I don't know if you can tell on camera, but this dress is purple, so I'm wanting to do something more purple today, and I want to do something with Crystal Ball, this lighter lilac-y shimmery shade down at the bottom. I have already done a look with Mood Ring, which has a little bit of purple in it. I might use a little bit of stained glass, a little bit of a darker shade like duochrome on the outer corner, but basically I just want to do something quite purple heavy. You don't have to ask me twice, okay, to do a purple eyeshadow look. So I already have my eyeshadow primer on. This is of course the Beauty Bay one. It basically always is, but I do just want to clarify because sometimes I use something different. So I'm going to go in with a big fluffy brush. This is actually a Cosmic brush. This is the CB1. I really like these brushes, the ones with the purple handles. I have 2 sets of these, and then more, you can buy them individually. I've got more separately. So I'm going to start with, let's start with Drapes, this shade here, on that big fluffy brush. And I'm going to put this all through the crease into sort of 2/3 in. Not all the way in, because I definitely want to use that lighter lilac shade right in the middle, but this can be a transition. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm pretending, but I hear other people say that, so I'll say it as well. So I'm happy with that. I really like this shade because it is just like my perfect, more pinky transition if I wanted something more warm. And in the other looks I probably will use Patchwork, but Drapes is just a beautiful, more pinky tone. I'm going to use the same brush and I'm going to dip into this shade here, which is called Incense. And I'm going to use that just to lighten up sort of above that shade, because this is basically the same colour as my skin tone, which I do appreciate in an eyeshadow palette. I enjoy a nice bright sort of white or ivory, something like that, but I also like having this more skin tone colour, you know? I'm going like this as if that explains what I'm meaning. You know what I mean. This colour rather than pure absolute white. They're close. They're very close, but they are different. There we go. Very happy with that. So I'm going to go in with a smaller brush that is stained. We're not going to talk about it. And I'm going to go into Amethyst, the mid purple. So if I wanted a darker purple, I may well at some point go in with Bell Sleeves, and then this is Constellation down at the bottom, and I think I want a little bit of that as well. But I definitely think I want to use this shimmer. So it is a little bit shifty, so we'll use that one. So, but for now, getting ahead of myself, of course I am, going in with Amethyst, that mid purple, and I will keep that further into the crease. You know what, I might use that as my darkest shade. Sometimes I come into these 3 looks with videos with a plan, and other times I do not. I just put on a purple dress today and I was like, let's go purple. And that was as far as the thought process went. So let's just keep this a little bit further into the crease. We'll figure it out together. I have also taken that amethyst shade onto the outer corner of the eye. I think I'm going to leave that as the darkest shade. I quite like that shade. It's got enough depth for me for the outer corner, but where that is blended out a little bit further in, I think that is perfectly deep enough for me. So I'm going to go in with another like quite fluffy brush, and I'm going to go into that lightest pastel purple, which is called Constellations, and I'm going to put that further in the crease on the inner corner. Oh, I do love that purple. I really, really enjoy these pastel shades. I mean, yes, it matches the mirror, the headband, it matches the vibe, and I am not mad about it. So wiggle that through there to add that nice little pop of lilac right in there. And then, now what? Then let's do, does stained glass match the vibe? That absolutely matches the vibe. That is very, very pretty. And then crystal ball further in. Yes. So that darker shade there is stained glass. And then that one on my ring finger there is crystal ball. Look at the shift in that stained glass shade. It's so pretty. So I will put that further out and just a little bit of it. I probably will put crystal ball sort of over the top of this. But I love the shift in this shade. So just a little bit, just a little tickle of that on the outer half of the lid. Yeah, and that adds more depth. It's not blended, I know. So then let's go in with crystal ball further in. And I will just tap over the edge with some of that crystal ball and hope that it blends. Oh, that's pretty. That is very, very pretty. That is a nice colour combo. I love purple at the best of times. If you've been here before, you know that, but wow. I really, really enjoy that crystal ball shade. That's almost got a sort of candy floss pink in the lilac. That is very, very pretty. And that's just brightened that up to how I like it. So I'm going to go in with crystal ball on more of a dense brush because my nails are long. I need them doing. Do you think in Everyday October I had the time to be getting my nails done? No, you're not looking at how grown out they are because hanging on by a thread does not even cover it. So crystal ball on more of a dense brush right into that inner corner and also over that top edge there to blend out a little bit. Just teeny tiny little circular motions to soften the top edge but not go crazy. Not that I worry about going crazy, but you know, let's not go completely crazy. Then I'll just go back in with a tiny little bit more of that amethyst shade on the outer corner just to make sure that that darker duochrome is blended in how I want it to be. Yeah, I mean, I haven't blended them into the same shape, but that's fine. So that is the lid done. I'm going to go ahead, clean this up. Do I want to add a wing? Yeah, probably. But I will do under the eye with you. I will go ahead and do the rest of the face and I'll be right back. There we go. So that's the rest of the face done. And I actually thought, you know what, my face is looking a bit flat. Let's put on a highlighter, and I hadn't brought one over. I'm going to use the Cosmic one. So this is the Astral Radiance Highlighter Trio. I have only used this one so far, which is Moonbeam, which is beautiful. Starlight has more of a blue shift to it. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see that, like shifting to blue. And then obviously Sunbeam is going to be more of an eye shade for me. I'm not going to get away with that shade on my face, but let's go in with that middle one because I haven't used it yet and I want to see how much it's going to shift on the face. And although I am filming something else today, I'm not actually going anywhere, so I feel like I can get away with it to try it for now. So, fluffy brush, my usual highlight brush, which I could not even tell you what it was, where it's from. It's this shape. It's a fluffy highlight brush. And let's go into Starlight. Let's swirl into there a little bit. It does look very blue, which scares me, but that is very blue, but also that's very pretty. Let's tap onto this side. Oh, I'm just gonna wipe my brush off on the blanket that I keep on my lap because it's autumn. And I want to be comfy and cozy. And let's tap this out a little bit. Does this go with the very pink blush that I put on? Potentially not. But I quite like that actually. When that's not catching the light, it's not blue. It only looks blue when it catches the light, but it's not too blue. It's very smooth. I can't say I'm noticing, I was about to say I can't say I'm noticing any glitter, and then I turned into the light a little bit more and I am noticing a little bit of glitter. Not necessarily the sort of thing that I'm going to use on the face all of the time. I think that it's pretty, but that on the eyes, say less. That on the eyes would be incredible. And it is blending in nicely. It is blending in very, very nicely. Just wanted a little bit of a glow, you know? So let me just tap over with my blush brush just to calm it down a touch. It's fine. So let's go back in now with the Starlight Society palette, and I'm going to take that smaller brush and go back into Amethyst. I do potentially want to put Daydreamer right onto the inner corner. You know how I feel about a pastel blue inner corner. If there was a mint in this palette, I would be doing that, but there isn't. But there is a blue. But anyway, let's go in with, I'm getting ahead of myself again. Did you see me go off on that tangent? Going in with Amethyst along the lower lash line, and I will round that out with the outer corner as well. And then I'm just using that first fluffy brush that I was using for the shade Drapes. I've not gone in with any more colour, but I'm just using that to sort of soften out the edges a little bit. And I think I'm happy? Question mark. I feel like I want that bright blue on the inner corner. But also I could use Stardust. Do I go in with Stardust? No, see that's warm. That won't. No, I don't like that. Starlight Society has a bit of green. I don't really like that either. I think it's got to be Daydreamer. Unless I put that highlight. Let's do the highlight because I feel like it'll tie in with the highlight that I've got on my face. So, small, dense brush in with Starlight. That highlight from the Astral Radiance palette, and pop that right onto the inner corner. Yeah, I think that was the right choice. And then that ties in with the highlight on the cheeks as well. Yes, I am happy with that decision. Yeah, I like that. I like it. So I'm going to add a wing. Let me have it. I'm going to add a wing. I'm going to add mascara. And then look number 1 is done. I like it. I like it. It's purple, of course. I was always going to. Wing, mascara. BRB. There we go. That is the finished look. Oh, I love it. I just love it. I love that pop of the duochrome right on the inner corner is also tying in with the highlight. I love that it matches my dress, even though my dress does not even look purple. I promise you it's purple, it just looks black in the viewfinder. So that is look number 1. I also feel like I look strange because I've straightened my hair today instead of curling it. I just wanted something a little bit different, but not with my makeup. Always something nice and smoky and colourful with the makeup, but that is look number 1. I do not know what I'm going to do for look number 2 or number 3, because I feel like I've done a goldeny, orangey, mustardy look. I will link that video. Obviously something like blue and turquoisey teal, and then I don't know, maybe something with more of the plummy. Let's wait and see. But look number 1 is complete. So let's go on to look number 2. Okie dokie, so look number 2 with the Starlight Society palette. And I actually think I want to do something with this darker sort of plummy shade, which is called Tassels. And maybe like some of the more gold shades, and then maybe Stardust, because as we figured out in the first clip, that's got more of a warm shift to it. So yeah, but not going, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm not going to pretend. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm going to start with a big fluffy brush. I have already got my Beauty Bay eyeshadow primer on across my eyelids, and I'm going to start with this fluffy brush into, let's go quite warm. Let's go in with this mustardy shade, which is called Celestial, and I'm going to run that sort of roughly all the way through the crease and sort of buff it out a little bit up towards the brow bone. I apologise if you can hear a hoover. I am not going to stop my husband from hoovering if he decides to. So if you hear that, I apologise. But buffing this shade right out, just a light little wash of that sort of above the crease. I really, really like this mustardy shade. If you've seen my channel before, you know I love a mustardy shade at the best of times, but this one is just beautiful, and a light little wash of that will warm up the look nicely. Just a little bit of something, you know, so happy with that. Then I'm going to go in with a smaller brush into that Tassels shade, and I'm going to go like as deep as I want the outer corner to be first and sort of work backwards. So taking that, packing that right onto the outer corner. So I've just placed that down, and I'm not worrying too much about blending that out. I'm just going to sort of leave that as it is, wipe that brush off on the blanket. You know how it is on the blanket that I keep on my lap, and let's go in with Patchwork, this shade, on the same brush, and I'm going to use that to blend out the edges of that darkest purpley shade. So I'm just going backwards and forwards in between the Patchwork shade, which was that more browny tan, and Celestial, which was the brighter mustard, until I am happy with that blend sort of through the crease. I'm not worrying about what's on the lid because I'm going to be putting a shimmer over that. It'll cover basically all of it, but I do want that nice transition in the crease, and I think I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to take a big fluffy brush like so, and I'm going to go into that lightest shade, which I know I've already used, which is called Incense, and I'm going to use that just to, my hair is on absolutely everything, I've just brushed it, and I'm going to use that just to brighten up right on the inner part of the crease. It also helps like blend those shades into something a little bit brighter right on the inner part of the eye, which I love that contrast between the dark and the light. So I'm just adding a tiny little bit more of that Tassels shade right onto the outer corner. I really want to round this out when I get to, you know, the under eye, and when the rest of the face is finished, I really want this rounded out. So I'm blending this sort of next to my eye rather than above it, because I want it to be really nice and rounded with that darker shade. So I'm just doing like tiny little circular motions to blend that colour into the warmer shades, and I'm happy with that shape that we've got going on there. Now I just want to figure out what shimmer I want. I feel like Trinkets could be an option, that like bright gold, but also Stardust. So that's Trinkets. Let me show you close up. That is Trinkets and that is Stardust. Shawl is nice, and that's a bit more duochromy, but it is darker. Oh, what do I want to do? Let's do Trinkets, that nice bright gold. So just wiping my hand off, and I'm not stopping it. I'm going to just put Trinkets, that brighter gold, all over this middle section, like the inner section there, pressing that right in. And this isn't a duochrome, it is just a regular shimmer, but it is beautifully bright. Pretty. I like that shade. I might top it with something a little bit more shifty to make it a little bit special. Let's wait and see. I am happy with how that shimmer is looking. I think I'm just going to take a little bit of that darker shade, which was called Shawl, and I'm going to put that further out. And this almost has a little bit of like pink in it, but it is quite dark. So it's not necessarily the sort of shade that I would necessarily enjoy all over the lid, but it is pretty further out to something a little bit darker. So I'm just tapping that in, and then I'll go back in with those brushes just to make sure that there aren't any lines up above the crease, so it's nice and blended. I don't mind if the shimmers sort of end up above the crease, because I'm a magpie and I like things to be shiny. So happy with that. Just go back in with a bit more of that darker Tassels shade just over the top to really keep that depth right on the outer corner with that darkest matte shade. Just a light little tickle over the edges with that one. Yes, I'm very happy with that. I do want something a little bit brighter further in, so let's get more of a dense pencil brush, and I will go in with Stardust, which is that lighter one down in the bottom corner that shifts a little bit golden, but it also has I don't know, a little bit of like a green shift to it, which is quite nice with the more purpley tone on the outer corner. And I will pack that on. Ooh, yes, that's nice and bright. Pack that on and sort of bring that up through the inner part of the crease, like so. That's really, really bright. I am enjoying that shade. So I think I'm happy with how this is looking, apart from this little line here. I think I am happy. Yes, that's better. Blend that in a little bit. I am happy with how that is looking, so I'm going to clean this up. I am going to do the rest of my face. I'm considering a blue eyeshadow wing, you know, just to make something a little bit different, but also I do want to do a blue look. I'll see how I feel. I'll do the rest of my face and I will be right back. Okay, so I'm just neatening up that nice bright shimmery shade on the inner corner, because obviously I put the concealer and everything on, covered it over a little bit by accident. I'm not very neat, it's fine. So I'm just neatening that up. And let's do the under eye, and then I will decide if I want to do a blue smoky wing. I think I probably will, but I did also bring over one of the metallic gel liners. This is in Sunburst, and I think I want to try this in the waterline. I don't think I have tried one of these in the waterline yet. I can't remember. I've slept since the last time I did my makeup, so I can't remember what I've done. I can't remember what I did in other videos. I can't remember what I did like 30 seconds ago, truly. So I will use this in the waterline. If this eye stops twitching, can you see that? That's annoying. Oh, why is that doing that? Is there an actual reason why eyes twitch? Is it because I'm tired? That would absolutely explain it. So going in with that smaller brush into the darker shade that I've already used on the lid, which was called Tassels, and I will run that along the outer corner of the lower lash line, and I really want to smoke this out, so I'm bringing that down quite far, and I will also blend it out with some of those warmer browns. I'm really liking how this look is going. Honestly, I didn't think anything would beat the first look because I love the purples, but I do also love the warmer tones. And this is still purple, technically. This is a purpley plummy sort of shade. So anyway, going in with that fluffy brush into Celestial, which was that mustard shade that we've used in the crease, and I will lightly run that over the edges. And like I say, I really want to round this out, so some little round motions on that outer corner as well. And I'm really sort of smoking that shade out quite low down on like the outer corner of my eye. I'm not necessarily looking for anything that's lifted or something like that, like it's a completely different shape than what I usually do, bringing it down that far, but those colours are blending together so beautifully. So I'm very happy with how that is looking. So let's find a really dense sort of flat-ish brush, something like this. Is this technically like a brow brush? I don't know, but I'm going to take that brush into Astrology, the deep, very intense sort of navy blue, and I'm really going to stamp that in there. Then I'm going to press the colour in on the back of my hand so that it's really in the brush, so that I don't get any fallout, because I don't want blue fallout all over my face when I've already done the rest of my face. And I'm going to stamp this along the lash line, and then I'm going to create a sort of smoky wing shape out here. I do like doing an eyeshadow wing for something a little bit sort of smokier and smudgier and not so precise. Yes, I like that. You can see the difference there. I mean, I haven't done a very good job on this inner part of the eye. Smudge that out a bit, soften that shape there. The difference there, the depth on this eye versus this eye. I like it. I was doing so well. Can you see that on my nose? Just drag that brush straight across my nose. You know how I was saying I didn't want fallout? I also don't want a line of blue across my nose. I will clean that up in a second. I'm so clumsy. I should not be left alone with colourful powder and brushes. I can't be trusted. I cannot be trusted at all, but just smoking that out, smudging it out. I don't want anything neat. That will do. I like it. I even like the little smudge of blue across my snoot, which of course I would get blue eyeshadow right across the bridge of my nose. First, I'm going to go off and do mascara, because if you've seen my channel before, you know I always end up with mascara all across my nose. So before I clean this up, I'll do mascara, because chances are I'm gonna have to clean up again after I do my mascara anyway. So mascara, and then we're done for look number 2. What a mess I am. It is absolutely to be expected. There we go. It never happened. I can absolutely pretend that I am a put together human being and that I am not clumsy literally every single day of my life. So there we are, look number 2. Just to show that you can, like, I would consider this sort of a neutral glam sort of look. It's basically just warm browns and a little pop of like a brighter gold on the inner corner. So this is the sort of thing that I would honestly just wear every single day. I would also absolutely wear the look that I did yesterday every single day, but this is more what most people would maybe consider more wearable. Out of a very colourful palette, there's still wearable, everyday, neutrally sort of looks that you can do with this. And this used some of the more colourful looks. The blue and the mustard are in here, but you can do something that is more everyday. And I'm doing air quotes because if you wear it on a day, then that makes it an everyday look. But this is look number 2. I really like how this one has turned out, even though I am a more colourful makeup kind of gal. I do appreciate these like warmer tones, and I think the addition of the blue wing is a little something a little bit more spicy. But this is look number 2. I think I want to really lean into more of the blues for look number 3, but that will be tomorrow me problem, but you will be seeing it right now. Okie dokie, so look number 3, and I know I'm wearing purple again, but I think what I want to do is more of these bluey matte tones. Maybe or maybe not with the light blue, like the pastel blue on the inner corner, we will see. But I think that these blue tones will go really nicely with this gold shimmer. So I want to try those together, maybe warm up the crease a little bit. We will see how we go. But I have already got my Beauty Bay eye primer on and my brows. So let's just start with a fluffy brush into Taken by the Wind, which is the mid blue. And I'm going to run this through the crease. I think what I will do is sharpen up the crease and put that gold shimmer across the lid. I feel like these blue tones have quite they're not very cool toned for a blue. I feel like they've got a little bit of warmth to them, so I feel like that gold will go really nicely. And honestly, I'm just trying to do a blue look that I feel more comfortable with. I've said before, I really don't feel comfortable in blues. I don't know if it's because it like brings out the blue on my inner corners. I don't know what it is about blue. It just really scares me. So I'm trying to do something that I feel a little bit more comfortable with. So let's just wiggle this mid-tone all through the crease. That brush definitely was not clean. I've put shimmer in with that blue, but that's fine. That does not matter who's looking that closely. So that is the mid-tone all the way through, a little bit lighter on the inner part, a little bit darker on the outer part of the eye. Then let's go in with that more dense brush, just honestly the same one that I have already been using, and it is stained purple, and I'm going to go into that dark, very, very intense indigo blue, and I'm going to pack this on the outer corner. Keep that really, really intense out there. I do love that blue, like that dark, deep indigo blue. It's so rich and intense. It is very, very pretty. So let's wiggle that along the crease a little bit as well. I'm going to just take another clean fluffy brush, and I'm going to go into the light pink, which is called Journal, and I'm going to use a little bit of that just to brighten up on the inner part of the crease, on the inner sort of third of the eye. I don't necessarily want it to look pink, I just want it to be a little bit brighter in there, and that shade is very pretty. I do like pink and blue together. Obviously they're like contrasting colours, which I love wearing contrasting colours together. That's why I wanted to use the gold, but I feel like that will just sort of neutralise that blue out a little bit more and sort of fade it in. So I think I'm happy with those matte shades. I'm going to just go in with a little bit more of that first mid blue, just over the top edge, to soften that darker blue down a little bit. And then I will go back in with the Troublemaker eyeshadow primer, and I'm gonna like not necessarily carve it out, but be quite precise with where I put that more tacky primer, and I will do one eye at a time. And then I think I'm going to put Shawl further out. Do I want Shawl? This is Trinkets, which is the gold that I want further in. I feel like I should have something further out, but Shawl isn't necessarily the undertone that I want. Then we've got When Stars Align. Do I do that one? Yeah, let's do that. When Stars Align, the blue shimmer, and then Trinkets further in. That's the bright gold. But first things first, I need to apply the primer. So I'm going to draw this on this blank part of the lid here and sort of create the shape that I want with the gold shade. But I'm just going to draw that on with the eyeshadow primer. I need to wipe that before I put it back in there because it is blue. And I'm going to just tap this out with a brush just to make that really flat across the lid. And then while that's still really tacky, I'm going to go in with another clean flat brush into Trinkets, and I'm going to pick that up on the brush and press that on to that nice tacky base. So I'm just taking that gold sort of up to halfway, and then I'm going to take When Stars Align, which is the darker blue shimmer, and I'm going to put that sort of in between the gold and the matte darker blues. And hopefully if I sort of go backwards and forwards between the two there, they will blend nicely across the lid. Yeah, that's working quite nicely. Yeah, I like how that is looking. I feel like that's catching the light in a few different ways. And sometimes it looks a little bit more blue, like you can see more of the blue reflecting, and other times you can see more of the gold. I really like that. So now comes the task of trying to make somewhat of a similar shape on the other eye. We can only try our best. So I'm just going in with a tiny little bit more of that darkest blue, which was called Astrology. Just going in with a little bit more of that over that top edge, just to intensify that blue above the gold, so that that contrast between the gold and the blue on the very inner part of the eye here is still quite sharp, like the contrast is still there. And I think I am pretty much there for the lid. I think I'm happy, apart from just blend that in a little bit there. I think I'm happy. I am going to go ahead and clean this up under the eyes. Not that there's all that much fallout, but there is a little bit. I've got quite a lot of blue on the lid, so there's a little bit under the eye as well, but I'm going to clean this up, do the rest of my face, and then we can smoke something out under the eye, because of course I want to do that. That goes without saying, I feel. So I will be right back. Okie dokie, so that is the rest of the face done, just tapping out the creases in my concealer, because you know, I've got real life human skin and real life human under eyes that move and crease. So I'm going to go back in with that smaller brush with the darker blue, the Astrology shade, lightly, and I'm going to run that on the outer corner. And again, really round out that outer corner with that dark blue. And I remembered after I was filming the second clip, which I did yesterday, I realised that I brought one of the metallic gel liners over and I never used it, but I thought that this gold shade would go with this look. So I'm going to do this today. I'm going to remember. So I will leave that there. Watch me forget, even though I have it literally stood up on my table. I won't forget because I'm an adult. I'm a responsible human being, and when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. That is not who I am as a person, but I will try and remember, okay? I will try and remember. But let's finish up the eyeshadow before I move on to that. So running that blue along the lower lash line. I think I want to put Starlight Society right on the inner corner. I wore that shade just basically all over the lid for work today and it looked beautiful, so I think I want to do that. I'm going to just go in with that fluffy brush that I was using for the mid blue shade, which was Taken by the Wind, and I'm just going to take a tiny bit of that and buff that darker shade along a little bit and soften that out again on the outer corner. Yes, I'm happy with that. I feel like the more I do these 3 looks with videos and the more I do like eyeshadow palette bingos and things where I just completely take the colour choice out of my hands, the more I'm choosing blues, the more I'm wearing blues, the more I'm getting comfortable with them. Is this the sort of look I'm going to wear every day? No. I like more warm, orangey, toasty tones, so this isn't necessarily a look I'm going to do every day, but I do like the undertones of these blues. If I'm going to pick a blue, it's going to be a blue like this. So let's do I want to do a wing? No, Millie, you don't need to do a wing in every single video. I'm going to do mascara, then I might add Starlight Society right on the inner corner, and then we will do that gel liner in the waterline. If I keep saying it, I'll remember. If I don't let that thought fall out of my brain, we might actually get to have the gel liner I need to stop talking. I need to concentrate. That could have so easily been a disaster. If that had gone in my eye. But let me do mascara. Let me clean this up. Let me concentrate. Be right back. Honestly, I'm a mess. Okay, mascara done and cleaned off the side of my nose. So let's take a teeny tiny little brush. Let's take more of a dense little brush, and I'm going to put Starlight Society right onto the inner corner. This one is a little bit shifty and it is a little bit sort of blue and green, so I feel like it will go quite nicely, and it's more sheer, so I feel like it will tap over that inner corner nicely. Yeah, I do really like this shade. Like I say, I wore it just all over the lid for work today. And what did I put on the, I think I did more of like the purples. Honestly, I literally took it off like half an hour ago, like literally just before I started filming, and I can't remember what shades I put with it, but such a pretty duochrome, multi-chrome shade. And I feel like it will just go with everything that's in the palette. Like it will go with the purples, it will go with the blues, it will go with those more pinky toasty tones as well. Very pretty shade. So pack that on there, blend it out a little bit, but not too far. Nice and bright, really nice and bright. And then let's do this before I forget, the metallic gel liner in Sunburst. So this is the gold, and it is a very pretty shade. And I'm fairly certain I said in the second clip, in yesterday's clip, I don't think I've used one of these pencils in the waterline, so we will see how this one goes. I'm hoping you'll actually be able to see that it's gold. Ooh, that's fun. That is fun. You can't see it a ton. I feel like you can tell the difference there between the side that has the liner in the waterline and the side that doesn't. Add in a little bit of something. A little sprinkle of something. I like it. Yeah. I like that for a little sprinkle of something a little bit more special. Not that I feel like I necessarily needed it with blue, gold and a duochrome on the inner corner, but that is look number 3. As far as blue looks go, like I say, it's not my favourite, but as far as blue looks go, I like how this one's turned out. I do love the undertones of these blues, and I do feel like the addition of that gold across the lid has made that feel a little bit more milli appropriate. Which isn't going to be what everybody wants. I'm not saying that it should be. If you want to wear blue, you can wear blue. This feels more comfortable to me with the gold. That makes it feel just more comfortable for me. But that is look number 3. So as always, I would love to hear which of the 3 looks has been your favourite. For me, I just don't think you can beat that purple one that I did first. Honestly, I just love a purple eye look. I think that that would be my favourite, but I would love to hear which is your favourite, which look you have enjoyed the most. And if you have this palette, if you have the Starlight Society palette from Cosmic, what colours are you enjoying putting together? What colour combos are you enjoying? Do you enjoy that bright baby blue as a pop on the inner corner as much as I do? I have to tell myself not to do that in literally every single look, because it would get very, very boring if I just did the same thing all the time. But that is truly what I want to do all of the time. No matter the look, I want a nice pastel pop on the inner corner. But I would love to hear which look is your favourite. I would love to hear what you think of the palette, what you think of the eyeliners, the gel eyeliners, what you think of the lip products. I want to hear all of your thoughts. I will put a community post up and also post on my Instagram when this palette is available separately. Currently it's only available in that bundle that is spenny, but I will post everywhere when the palette is available separately, because I know a lot of people are waiting for that. I understand. I can't relate, but I understand. So that is everything for today. I hope that you've had a fantastic, fantastic day. And until next time, thank you ever so much for watching. Bye bye.